What's up guys, welcome back to Horsepower and Pizza. It is another Saturday morning back in the garage. If you haven't already seen the video on the front coilovers, I'll link that up here somewhere. But I put Raceland Coilovers on my clapped out Subaru. The front struts were blown for like 2 years, so it was about time that they got replaced with something. But on top of that, when Booker and I did wheel bearings in the rear back in February or so, we broke one of the wheel speed sensors or the ABS sensors, whatever Subaru calls them. And I have not had anti-lock brakes, cruise control, or traction control since. So now that the car needs aligned and inspected and all of that happy stuff, obviously I'm going to need those things to pass inspection. So I bought the sensors. I bought both of them because I don't know which one we screwed up. Doesn't matter, won't hurt. Shotgun parts at it and be done. But while I am in there, I am also going to do the rear Racelands. So that's mainly what this video will be about. I will show you how to do the speed sensors as well.
Psych alive.
So that might help you if you have one of these great cars. I'm going to put the front on the ground and put the rear on jack stands, and then we'll get into it. I went ahead and jacked the rear end of the car up. The rears are actually easier to do than the fronts. If you look in here at the rear strut, you follow it down, there's one bolt with a nut on the outside of it here. That's all that you have to disconnect to do the rears from this side. If you come around into the trunk, you gotta pull all this carpet back. There's a bunch of those little clips that are a pain in the butt. And once you remove those clips and pull the carpet forward, you gotta push it way forward and it will expose two nuts right there. I will circle them on the screen. Those are the tops of the struts. And then all you gotta do is set this at the height that you want it, slide this up through, put the nuts in up top, put the bolt and the nut back through in the back, and you are good to go. I'm not going to be able to film myself taking this out because one, lost the tripod, two, I'm here alone. The nut and bolt on the lower strut are a 19 millimeter, so I'm going to hold a wrench on the backside and hit the nut with the impact. So I got it out with the old, in with the new. I always put anti-seize or grease or something on the threads because I live in the Northeast and yeah, things get rusty, hence why this car is so clapped. So now I'm actually going to set the other side so it's identical to this one before I install either of them, and I'll check back. I got both of these set identically to what I want, so now reassembly of the first side begins. I got it in there. It was easiest for me to leave these two nuts loose so it would wiggle around. I had an issue lining up down here where the strut bolt goes through, but I did end up getting it in. I'm going to play with this speed sensor now, and hopefully that doesn't take too long so I can do the other side too. I got the new wheel speed sensor in on this side. That was a pain in the ass, and because of that I will never buy a Subaru again because these cars are so freaking rusty, and it's just, yeah, I don't like it enough to purchase another one. But speed sensor's in. Don't know that this was the one that was the issue. Although the sensor itself was broken, it still has an error message when I start the car, so not really sure. Upon speaking with Booker, it makes sense. I might need to clear those codes that it's throwing, so I'm not going to do the wheel speed sensor on the other side until I can clear those codes, but I am going to do the other coilover. A week later, now that I'm sitting down to edit the video, I'm a little wiser. Booker and I hooked the Subaru up to the code reader. There were no codes for a speed sensor error, even though it shows it. So it's one of those mechanical errors where you just need to fix it. So I thought, okay, maybe we have to drive the car and it will clear, which didn't really make sense in my head. As soon as I started the car back in February when we did the wheel bearings, it had the error. So I thought, maybe it'll clear. Test drove it a couple miles, didn't clear it. Came back, put the passenger side sensor in, started the car, no code. I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. Drove it a couple miles, fine. Drove it a couple miles the next day, got fuel, fine. Started it to drive it to work the following day, get like 2 blocks from the house, code. So at this point, I'm kind of frustrated. I get on the forums, start digging through. Everybody on the forums is saying you can't use like aftermarket hubs, wheel bearings. Okay, whatever. I have all sorts of other cars that you would think would throw tantrums over stuff like that, and I use generic parts on them all the time. The cheapest car that I own, the Subaru, apparently only wants OEM wheel bearings. Unfortunately, I spent another $240 on OEM wheel bearings. So that video will be coming soon, once again. Booker didn't see any part on the hubs that are in the car where the sensor would have been able to read, but because the old sensors that came out of the car were chewed up from I would assume the new hubs that are in the car, these sensors are also going to be chewed up. So now I gotta spend another $75, $80 on sensors too. It frustrates me to no end to have to do a job multiple times to get it done, and really didn't want to spend the money, but I do want this car to be able to be driven. Especially going into winter, I would like to have traction control and ABS and all of those fun systems. And not to mention driving it on the highway without cruise control is an absolute nightmare because I do have a heavy right foot. So Bucher and I doing wheel speed sensors and hubs again is going to be the next video that you guys see. If you follow me on TikTok, you already know that I bought something else, but we will be revealing that the video after the wheel speed sensor video, so stay tuned for all of that. Now that it's on the ground, the rears look pretty good minus the rest of the car. This tire is still flat. They get to go to the scrap bin at work. The fronts look about stock, actually a little bit higher than stock, so I can probably drop the fronts a little bit more, but I'll deal with that at a later date. Overall, super simple install. The passenger side, the second one that I did in the rear, took me like 30 minutes, so that wasn't bad at all. That's on account of doing the driver's side already, so I had the experience, and well, it helped that I didn't do the wheel speed sensor on that side yet. I want to clear the code and make sure, because the sensor that came out of the driver's side was broken, I think that's the one that was the issue. So I'm gonna clear the code, make sure it doesn't come back, and then I can send the other one back and get a refund because I don't need both of them.
Psych alive.
And when we did the wheel bearings and broke the sensor, I'm pretty sure it's the one that was on the driver's side anyway, because that was the second side that we did, and it was kind of violent getting it out of there, so it would make sense that it got broken. So on that note, that has been another install video from Horsepower and Pizza. If you would like to follow along, at Horsepower Pizza on all other platforms. TikTok is my largest platform. Be sure to go check that out. You'll see things there before you ever see them here. There's a lot of things to come this fall and this winter. It's been kind of quiet this year. It's been a big year, not even me hyping it up. Things haven't really gone my way this year on camera and on account of the way that I wanted them to go, but they went the way that they needed to go. Pretty happy overall. This might be up for sale. If anybody would like a daily, it is a solid car. It's just ugly. I don't know. Let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. Follow on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. Build it for you.